Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to meet your second act of the second half? Would you please welcome to the stage? He's wearing a jacket and shirt combination, which means it's time for comedy. Please welcome to the stage, David Gleave!
Good evening, it's great to be here. I'm a mature student, David. If you put that into spell check, it comes out as immature student, David. But I'm kind of one of those guys who has seen a lot of life, failed, and become a research student. Modesty there for you. My subject area is plane crashes, which is not the most humorous subject. What you really want to know is about the Mile High Club. I guess we're going to talk about aeroplanes for the next 7 minutes, and where the best position is. It's down the back in the 747 on the left-hand side. That toilet's the biggest one. And it's got a lot of mirrors in it. Now you're all thinking, is he a member of the Mile High Club? The answer is yes. I've got the only solo certificate they've ever issued. When you come to university as a mature student, that has a sort of impact. The publicity people, they all want publicity at Loughborough University about various things that go on. So they say, well, how can we publicise your research? Let's get you a Twitter account. So I'm now #PlaneCrashGuy. And it set me thinking, let's imagine that somebody was here in front of these people who basically takes police evidence from the scenes of crime, or particularly the drug squad. So what are you going to do if you spend all day looking at evidence from cannabis? You're going to be hashtag. Anyway, I get to fly Ryanair a reasonable amount, so it's great to be here at Sheffield South University. I can tell what you're thinking. Yes, the nearest exit is behind me. So what I do as a research student is you've got a choice really. You can do experimental work or you can do theoretical work. Now, for those of you that know the clipboard Nazis that call themselves health and safety people, if you can imagine saying, okay, I want to take a 400-ton jumbo jet with 300 people on board and 137 tons of fuel, and crash it into the university campus just to see what happens as an experiment, you're going to get a strange answer, which is not on the first 11 rugby pitch. So what we have to do after that, we've got to do some theory. We're not allowed to use real people. So about every 20 years or so in my industry, we go and get an aeroplane that's a bit old, we sort of mock the autopilot up, and we've got a lot of mannequins, we put them inside, we put loads of instruments on things, and we go and crash it. So for me, Windows for Dummies means something different. It's not a book about Microsoft. So we take this, and then the aeroplane, we go and snot it into some hillside somewhere or other, or crash it on an airport or something like that. You may have seen that there was a Channel 4 documentary where some guy jumped out of an aeroplane and basically missed the test site and screwed up the results. 20 years or so. And we'll see what happens from there. So what we do in real plane crash investigation is we've got some boxes on board the aeroplane, the black boxes. Now, if there's any artists in the room, I would ask them what colour is a black box, and they would say black isn't a colour, you stupid scientist, it just absorbs light. That's why we paint them orange. So the black box is actually orange, and orange box contains oranges and isn't a black box. That's the first thing you have to know when you're investigating. Having worked that out, when you go to the scene of an accident where there's a fire, you then have a black box which was orange, which then becomes black again. So you've got to get the right box. And I did work at a crash in Brazil where they were running around, they found this orange box on the aeroplane, chartered a Gulfstream business jet, flew from Sao Paulo to Washington to decode it, but didn't read what the box said on the outside. Now, we're fairly simple people. The cockpit voice recorder has the word cockpit voice recorder written on the box, and the digital flight data recorder has do not open this written on the box. But it's fairly obvious to us what we have to do. So we take the data from that, we download it, And I'm probably the only person here that can actually say, without being arrested under the Mental Health Act, I get to listen to the voices of the dead. Yes, it's pretty psychologically tough what I have to do. But I do get to travel around the world doing my job. I've been to every continent. I've been around the world about 50 times, which is, in the words of the environmentalists in the building, you bastard! One year I flew 563,000 miles, which has the same carbon emissions as 55 UK households. So now I live in a small flat and don't turn the heating on, because we have chance to pay, so that's getting me back, so don't worry about that. We get some pretty strange aeroplane accidents. I was sitting there, you've got to plough through this report to get the data out for your PhD, and you're sitting there and you start to read the report and it says the aeroplane took off and crashed into an hillside, and bloody hell, there we go again. Right, okay, so the fuel that they've checked, that was okay, there was enough of it. It didn't have water in it, the weight was okay, the balance was okay, so it didn't sit on its tail, the weather was all right, it took off at night, the controller said it headed off in the right direction. You go all the way through this bloody report and not the vaguest indication of what caused the aeroplane to crash, until you get to the appendix, which is the police pathologist's report, and you find that the male and female passenger, well, the female passenger, when they hit the hillside, was found to have a certain part of the male anatomy in her mouth. And you see, no. So just beware, it can be rather distracting. So I'm doing all this sort of publicity stuff because I always get the talking head stuff, and Emily was talking earlier about watching helicopters crash in high definition. I had a phone call from the casualty team the other week, so I can't tell you what that's going to be about. Yes, it's going to be a plane crash. So I'm sitting there, and I was being interviewed for live BBC News 24. But actually it wasn't live, but we were pretending it was live, because us media types do that sort of thing, you know. And I was sitting there at Heathrow with this crashed big aeroplane behind me, and the engines hadn't developed enough power, and basically the aeroplane had glided and gone crunch. And you're taught as an engineer to give precise, concise, accurate answers to everything. And when I was teaching people report writing, I used to say, well, my ultimate report was based on a TV transmitter up in, a bit further up the Pennines. And the engineer's log said, mast fell down, full stop. 3 words tells you everything you need to know. And I never thought I'd be able to beat that. And the journalist says to me, he says, so David, what caused the plane to crash there then? And I looked at him, I said, gravity. It was a closed question, wasn't it? So anyway, I never answered that. So when you're out and about, you've got to be careful, because I get chased around by journalists and all the rest. Some of the job's pretty depressing, but most of it, it's pretty good, really. So what I'm going to do is just leave you with one final thought. And this will be the only fact that you're actually going to remember from this evening. And that is that actually trousers are more dangerous than aeroplanes. More people die in the United Kingdom putting on trousers, falling over and sustaining head injuries than we do killing people in commercial plane crashes. And with that thought, I shall leave you. Thank you very much.